In this case, the employee who was declared to have been illegally dismissed from employment sought additional back wages and separation pay. Was her prayer for the recomputation of the said benefits granted? We have here the case of Tan versus Dagpin. The record shows that the Office of the Executive Labor Arbiter rendered a decision dated September 12, 2003, declaring the employer liable for illegal dismissal of the employee with separation pay, back wages, service incentive leave, 13th month pay, moral and exemplary damages, and attorney's fees. On July 29, 2004, the National Labor Relations Commission affirmed the illegality of the employee's dismissal from employment as well as the monetary award when it dismissed the appeal of the employer for non-perfection. This decision became final and executory on January 10, 2005. As soon as an entry of judgment thereon was issued on January 17, 2005, the corresponding writ of execution was implemented and satisfied in full. This notwithstanding, the employer opted to elevate the case before the Court of Appeals and later before the Supreme Court. However, the employer lost in both fora. The Supreme Court's resolution dated June 23, 2008, dismissing the employer's petition, became final and executory on August 21, 2008. On November 3, 2008, the employer sought for additional increments to her monetary award. She posited that her back wages, separation pay, and other benefits should be computed up to August 21, 2008, when the resolution of the Supreme Court became final and executory. May the employee be granted a recomputation of accrued back wages, separation pay, and other benefits? The Supreme Court ruled in the negative, since the employee was no longer entitled to a recomputation or increase of the monetary award already paid her. The court reiterated established principles as follows. Execution is the final stage of litigation, the end of the suit. Our labor laws dictate that back wages must be computed from the time the employee was unjustly dismissed until his or her actual reinstatement, or upon payment of his or her separation pay if reinstatement is no longer feasible. Hence, insofar as accrued back wages and other benefits are concerned, the employer's obligation to the employee continues to accumulate until he or she actually implements the reinstatement aspect of the final judgment or fully satisfies the monetary award in case reinstatement is no longer possible. In the present case, while the court noted that the employer formally opposed the employee's claims, the record nonetheless shows that the judgment of the Executive Labor Arbiter was executed way back in 2005. For the court, the employer had already satisfied the final monetary benefits awarded to the employee. Corollary, the latter may not ask for another round of execution, lest it violates the principle of unjust enrichment. There was no additional increment which accrued to the employee by reason of the Supreme Court's resolution dated June 23, 2008, which did not modify, let alone alter, the long-executed judgment of the National Labor Relations Commission. Jurisprudence dictates that a final judgment may no longer be altered, amended, or modified, even if the alteration, amendment, or modification is meant to correct a perceived error in conclusions of fact and law, and regardless of what court renders it. More so when, as in this case, such final judgment had already been executed and fully satisfied. The court stressed that the employee's receipt of full back wages, separation pay, and other benefits in 2005 effectively severed the employer-employee relationship between her and the employer. From that point until the finality of the court's resolution dated June 23, 2008, the employee no longer had a right to demand further benefits as such. The court stated that granting a recomputation and consequently another round of execution would indubitably alter the original decision, which had been completely satisfied. Nay, unjust enrichment would certainly result.